Job chapter 20. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered, "This is why my troubled thoughts bring me back because of my feelings within me. When I hear the reproof and that dishonors me, that my understanding prompts me to answer. Then my understanding prompts me to answer. Surely you know that it has been from old, ever since humankind was placed on the earth, that the election of the wicked is brief. The joy of the godless lasts but a moment. Even though his stature reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever. Like his own excrement, those who used to see him will say, 'Where is he?' Like a dream, he flies away, never again to be found, and like a vision of the night, he is put to flight. People who had seen him will not see him again, and the place where he was will recognize him no longer. His sons must recompense the poor, his own hands must return his wealth. His bones were full of his youthful vigor, but that vigor will lie down with him in the dust. If evil is sweet in his mouth, and he hides it under his tongue, and if he retains it for himself and does not let it go, and holds it fast in his mouth, his food is turned sour in his stomach. It becomes a venom of serpents within him. His wealth that he consumed he vomits up. God will make him throw it out of his stomach. He sucks the poison of serpents. The fangs of a viper kill him. He will not look on the streams, the rivers that are the torrents of honey and butter. He gives back the ill-gotten gain without assimilating it. He will not enjoy the wealth from his commerce, for he has oppressed the poor and abandoned them. He has seized a house which he did not build, for he knows no satisfaction in his appetite. He does not let anything he desires escape. Nothing is left for him to devour. That is why his prosperity does not last. In the fullness of his sufficiency, distress overtakes him. The full force of misery will come upon him. While he is filling his belly, God sends his burning anger against him and rains down his blows upon him. If he flees from an iron weapon, then an arrow follows a bronze bow, pierce him. An arrow from a bronze bow pierces him. When he pulls it out and comes out of his back, the gleaming point out of his liver, terrors come over him. Total darkness waits to receive his treasure. A fire that has not been kindled will consume him and devour what is left of his tent. The heavens reveal his iniquity. The earth rises up against him. The flood will carry off his house, rushing down in the days of God's wrath. Such is the lot of God, allots the wicked, and the heritage of his appointment from God." Then Job answered, chapter 21. Then Job answered, "Listen carefully to my words. Let this be the consolation you offer me. Bear with me, and I will speak, and after I have spoken, you may mock. Is my complaint against a man? So why should I not be impatient? If so, why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled. Put your hands over your mouths. For when I think about this, I am terrified, and my body feels a shudder. Why do the wicked go on living, grow old, even increase in power? Their children are firmly established in their presence, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe and without fear, and no rod of punishment from God is upon them. Their bulls breed without fail, their cows calve and do not miscarry. They allow their children to run like a flock, their little ones dance about. They sing to the accompaniment of tambourines and harp, and make merry at the sound of the flute. They live out their lives in prosperity and go down to the graves in peace. So they say to God, 'Turn away from us. We do not want to know your ways.' Who is the Almighty we should serve him? What should we gain if we were to pray to him? But their prosperity is not their own doing. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. Verse 17 of chapter 21. How often is the lamp of the wicked extinguished? How often does their misfortune come upon them? How often does God apportion pain to them in his anger? How often are they like straw before the wind, like chaff swept away by a whirlwind? You must say, God stores up a man's punishment for his children. Instead, let him repay the man himself so that he may be humbled. Let his own eyes see his destruction. Let him drink the anger of the Almighty. For what is his interest in his home after his death, when the number of his months has been broken off? Can anyone teach God knowledge, since he judges those that are on high? One man dies in his full vigor, completely secure and prosperous, his body well nourished, and the marrow of his bones moist. And another man dies in bitterness of soul, never having tasted anything positive. Together they lie down in the dust, and worms cover over them both. Yes, I know what you are thinking, the schemes by which you should wrong me. For you say, where now is the nobleman's house, and where are the tents in which the wicked lived? Have you never distinguished those who travel the roads? Do you not recognize their attempts, that the evil one is spread from the day of his misfortune, that he is delivered from the day of God's wrath? No one denounces his conduct to his face. No one repays him for what he has done. And when he carries to the tomb and watch is kept over the funeral mound, the clods of the torrent valley are sweet to him. Behind him everybody follows in procession, and before him goes a countless throng. So how can you console me with my futile words? Nothing is left of your answers but deception. Chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, this guy is like whining. But don't we whine a lot? Chapter 22. We're going from to 44, Whine. But we will read it. Maybe by the end of the reading we will stop whining when we realize this too. Let's go. Then Eliphaz, chapter 22, then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, is it to God that a strong man is of benefit? Is it to him that even a wise man is profitable? Is it of any special benefit to the Almighty that you might be righteous? Or is it any gain to him that you make your ways blameless? Is it because of your piety that he rebukes you and goes to judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great, and is there no end to your iniquity? For you took pledges from your brothers for no reason, and you stripped the clothing from the naked. You gave the weary no water to drink, and from the hungry you withheld food. Although you were a powerful man, owning land and honoring many living on it, you sent widows away empty-handed, and the arms of the orphans were crushed. This is why snares surround you, and why sudden fear terrifies you. Why is it so dark you cannot see, and why a flood of water covers you? Is not God on high in heaven? And see the lofty stars, how high they are? But you have said, what does God know? Does he judge through such deep darkness? Thick clouds are a veil for him, so he does not see us, and he goes back and forth in the vault of heaven. Will you keep to the old path that evil men have walked, men who were carried off before their time when the flood was poured out on their foundations? They were saying to God, turn away from his, and what can the Almighty do to his? But it was he who filled their houses with good things. Yet the counsel of the wicked was far from him. The righteous see their distraction and rejoice. The innocent mock him scornfully, saying, "Surely our enemies are destroyed. The fire consumes their wealth." Reconcile yourself with God and be at peace with him. In this way your prosperity will be good. Accept instruction from his mouth and store up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. If you remove wicked behavior far from your tent and throw your gold in the dust, your gold of Ophir, among the rocks and the ravens, then the Almighty himself will be your gold and the choicest silver for you. Surely then you will delight yourself in the Almighty and will lift up your face towards God. He will pray for him, and he will hear you, and you will fulfill your vows to him. Whatever you decide on a matter, it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. When people are brought low and you say, "Lift them up," then he will save the downcast. He will deliver even someone who is not innocent, who will escape through the cleanness of your heart. Chapter 23. I wonder. Then Job answered, "Even today my complaint is still bitter. His hand is heavy despite my groan. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I could come to his place of residence." I'm going to have to read chapter 23 on at another time. We end at 22, Job 22.